Good afternoon and welcome everybody. This is the Transportation Technology Tournament Kickoff Meeting for 2023. My name is Andy Bertome. I'm with the USDOT Volpe Center. Adam, I don't know if you
I'm
want to
Adam
introduce
Hops. I'm
yourself.
with the National Operations Center of Excellence.
And David.
David Jackson with the U.S. Department of Transportation, Volpe Center.
We're really excited to be talking about this Transportation Technology Tournament, or Triple T, to save a lot of save me the hassle of saying that so many times. The Triple T student competition. Adam, I don't know if you mind going to the next slide. Our this competition is actually something that's been going on for about 6 years now. Actually, this is our 6th season. The competition it's an important attempt to bridge the gap between what we learn in academia and applying it on the road. The USDOT Volpe Center supports a number of different federal entities, one of them being the ITS Joint Program Office and their professional capacity building program. Within that, we have special kind of programs, special work where we look for the alignment between what we're taught in the classroom and what we need once we actually hit the road. Once you graduate and you hit the ground running. And one of the biggest discrepancies that folks had talked about, both practitioners, educators, and students, one of the biggest discrepancies that folks had talked about was practical experience, taking what was learned, those processes, that knowledge that was learned in the classroom, and applying it in a real world context. And it was kind of a chicken and egg thing when we had talked about it. Practitioners said, hey, we'd really appreciate it if you had we really appreciate if you had some practical experience, so we could hire you. And the professors and educators had all said, well, you need to start somewhere. So this was actually initially started off as a first crack at that, as a way that real world DOTs can be engaged, as a format for students to engage real world DOTs and to basically attack real world problems, propose actual solutions after taking a series of trainings to help prepare you to kind of talk their language and kind of pitch things in a format that's more palatable for these DOTs, something that's easier to receive. But basically to kind of help the students, trainings and assistance to help the students take their ideas and pitch them in a format that's usable. It gives the students gives the students a field experience, and it also kind of gives the DOTs kind of points them in the proper direction. This has actually been a fairly impactful competition. We started 6 years ago, and our first season, the winning team actually had a question. When they finished, they had all basically they all had jobs, and one of the things that somebody had approached them and said, hey, we really like your solution, we'd like to develop it. And they actually had to answer that question as a team. Do we become an LLC and continue this, or is something that do we continue down the track that we're on right now? The competition generates genuine good solutions, and we help you kind of format your solutions, pitch your solutions in a way that the DOTs can pick them up and use them, and that other folks actually can leverage them. So number of success and impact stories. We'll be circulating. There's a couple of webinars and stuff like that. If anybody has anything, we do have impact statements and stuff, and we have good examples of how people actually did benefit from this. So it's an important competition with a lot of good benefits for students, teachers, educators, and for DOTs. Adam, if you don't, you mind go to the slide 3? So this is just a kind of an overview of our presentation for today. What we're looking to do. We're going to be covering kind of the goal for you students, like what is it that we're really hoping that you get out of this competition, and kind of some of the nice things that you have when you leave the competition upon completing the competition. We'll introduce the organizing team, the folks that you'll be kind of interfacing with as the competition continues to move along. We're going to do an overview of the competition process, everything from project submission to the trainings to building your pitch, refining your pitch, working with professionals to refine your pitch, and then that final deliverable. we'll give you some key resources and then have some open airtime for Q&A. I'm gonna just go over the goals real quick, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Adam. So the goals for this really are to first and foremost, to arm the students with not just the knowledge and experience that you need to get awesome jobs in ITS, but to be absolutely 100% proficient, to be able to apply that knowledge that you had acquired in school, the skills, the processes that you perfected, to be able to apply that in a real world context, where things are not as neat, not as tidy as in some of the case studies that we usually see in the classroom. Among other things, when you complete this competition, if you've seen the NOCOE website, you've seen that the pitches, the recorded pitches, the con ops, all that hard work that you've actually done, it's retained on that website. So the other thing this gives you is kind of like an immortal, a resume builder, something that you can actually pop a link into your resume and said, I did this, and show yourself at your best, pitching to a panel of experts a solution that you designed in a very professional way. It's a wonderful resource. It's something that we're hoping that you find utility in, even later on and down in your career, as you say, look at how much I've grown in the past 10 years, something along those lines. But again, it gives you an opportunity to apply the knowledge and skills, for that ITS context. And it also gives you a chance to work with that multi-disciplinary team. A lot of these problems that you're going to be seeing on the website, a lot of the problems that are being pitched to us, again, real world TOTs submitting their real world problems, they're not neatly fitted in the bucket of an electrical engineer or the bucket of a civil engineer, the bucket of a planner. It takes a little bit of everything. Everything in the real world absolutely does. And you have to work in kind of a multidisciplinary team, work with multiple different people. And this entire competition does encourage that. Not just the folks that we're going to give you access to help you refine your pitch and stuff like that, but the people on your team. We're hoping that a lot of folks have multidisciplinary teams, that you can even have multi-university teams. Our first season was actually the first season. The winning team was from 3 different universities. So we're really hoping to see a lot more of that again in the future. The organizing team, Adam, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Andy. Again, my name's Adam Hops with NOCO. A lot of the, as Andy went over, a lot of the goals and the brains and the training behind this tournament comes from the ITS Joint Program Office Professional Capacity Building Program, and and our fantastic partners over there, Andy, JD Schneeberger, David Jackson, Charity Coleman, and others. I will be, for the most part, your lead contact through the tournament, should you choose to sign up. I'll be there to field submission forms, to help direct you to any questions that you have, talk about submittals, provide you with resources, or direct you along to somebody who can. So I'll be the main contact, and after you sign up on the website, you'll start getting emails from me and maintaining that contact through phone, text, and email. You can see Andy, who you've met, JD, and Charity Coleman, who are there as well, who you might hear from throughout the tournament and at the final event. Andy went over the goal of the process and how you do it. This is more the logistical side of that. We're asking people to at least give us their notice of intent to join this Friday. You don't have to have everything in order, or we just want to know how many teams that we're going to have. So be sure to sign up and write one of those challenge problem selections by the 10th. We might extend it to the 17th. We're not sure, but we want to hear from everybody as close to the 10th as possible, so we know how many teams that you're going to have. All of this, I should say first, is outlined on the website, transportationops.org/transportation technology tournament, or you can find it on the homepage of the NOCO website. We'll put that link in the chat box shortly as well, so that you have it. That website gets updated throughout with materials, resources, submittals. So that becomes the sort of homepage for the tournament. It's where you can sign up, where you can find those challenge problems. Remember, those challenge problems can be, you can come up with them on your own with an agency or a professor, or they can be selected from the list that's provided on that page. Next, as Andy discussed, you'll go through some web-based and case study trainings through March and April. We ask every team member to go through those and every team member to provide a short one-page description of what was learned. We recommend that you go through those with a university professor or an industry contact to help how you might apply it to your solution to the challenge problem. And then May, your big focus is going to be developing that solutions and ConOps. We don't recommend that you wait till May to get started, but that would be the focus of May. So March and April is going through those trainings, starting to do that initial exploration, and then May is developing that solutions and ConOps document. We take a few weeks to judge and let people know. That's where that finalist presentations line is there. Let who's going to be preparing a finalist presentation and going to the ITE annual meeting where the final event will be held. Again, depending upon the number of teams, we should be able to know at some point in April. So how many will be sent to the final? It's gone anywhere from 2 to 5, depending upon the year for those finalist teams. But that final will take place at ITE Annual Meeting in Portland, Oregon. And we will be sending at least a couple of teams there to participate in the final event. A little more detail on the sign up and challenge problem selection. As I mentioned, that form on the website is really to let us know that you intend to participate and that you want to be involved. If it's incomplete or you add another team member next week, that's fine. Just let us know that you're signing up. What you'll get back once you sign up from me is a request for the items that are on the screen here. We want to know who you are, what your background is. We want to know what you look like so that we can market some of the work that you do online, let people know that you're part of the tournament. List of team members, including the age and the degree pursued. We want to know a little bit about your team dynamics. This can just be real short. How often are you meeting? Are you meeting within a classroom, outside of a classroom? How are you doing the trainings together, separately? The challenge problem, as we mentioned, either chosen from the list or developed on your own. And then academic and professional advisors that you're working with. We do have a few requirements, which is teams should be 5 students with at least 2 under the age of 26. If your team is 3 to 6 students, let us know. We can normally make sure that works, or let people know. The judges know that you might have more team members or less team members, but we do want to make sure that the age distribution is follows those guidelines. But again, if you have questions, please reach out and let us know. And then students should come from US based universities. That's based on providing travel and to the final event. But as Andy mentioned, we've had teams come from multiple universities. We know that you might work on project teams together, and coming from multiple universities would be great. The teams that end up winning, just so you know, for most of the time, end up being teams that have multiple disciplines, multiple degrees being pursued, have an economist, have a communicator, have a mixture of civil engineer and electrical engineer. It ends up, those perspectives become important. So as you think about signing up, please consider making sure that you add somebody from outside of a civil engineering discipline. I'll hand it back to Andy to go over the trainings a little bit more detail.
Perfect. Thank you, Adam. So training. So everybody's coming from, some sort of a background, civil engineering, electrical engineering, planning. One of the important things to do is to kind of get everybody up on the same page with some foundational content. A lot of the stuff you may have seen before in classes, some of the stuff might be new to you, but getting everybody on the same page in terms of how we're referring to things, how we kind of conceptualize things is going to be important. So there's 2 rounds of training. The first round of training is basically a digital course that's available through a couple digital courses that are available through the ITS JPO website. They're listed on the Triple T website under the checkpoint for March 31st. For each of these, it's kind of talking about a core concept, a core element that's important to either designing or communicating your system-wide solution. It's going to include a lot of important material that you're going to need later on as you design your ConOps and as you deliver your pitch. The modules include things like systems engineering, ITS standards, and a basic introduction to enterprise architecture. So who does what, how do different groups interface, kind of planning that end of things out as you have a solution that's being implemented, who's in charge of running what, kind of planning and thinking those things through. There's also kind of an open slot there if there's another course that you'd like to take. We have a couple of recommended places to look for very specific courses if you're looking for it's very specific content, but we do encourage you to take other courses and then submit, the deliverables to say that, yes, this is, we've educated ourselves at X, Y, and Z as well. And if there's something that you actually find that you think should be incorporated as a standard training in the competition from here forward, let us know. We're always kind of updating this list, try to provide you the latest and greatest of trainings. Each one of these trainings, again, on that first check-in, we're going to ask that everybody on the team does take the training and then submit their individual. It's kind of like a recap, a summary sheet that you just have to fill out. Something that just basically acknowledges that you did take the training and that you did glean the important information out of it. And then a few of them do end with certificates. So just printing out those certificates, including it in the submission package, will be helpful. The second set of trainings is actually these case studies. So on the PCB website, one of the things that we developed for educators is a couple of multi-day courses where an important ITS concept is introduced, discussed, and there's a lecture, there's introduced, taught, and then a case study where it's applied in kind of a fictitious setting. We're asking that the student teams work together in a group and conduct these ITS case studies, complete these ITS case studies. This is where we're looking for your academic advisor to get involved. Again, every team is going to need an academic advisor, a professional advisor that kind of works with you. Somebody that, on the professional advisor, somebody who represents the challenge problem. If you pick one of the challenge problems that are listed online, we'll connect you with a professional advisor. But for the academic advisor, it's somebody who's from one of your universities. We're looking for them to help you walk through the lecture slides, ensure comprehension and understanding of the concepts that are within it. And then we're looking for you to submit the deliverables for each one of the case studies. All of that content is actually available on the ITS JPO website. So if you want to take a peek at it ahead of time, go for it. You don't have to wait till the last second to open it up. It's also available. It's not just available through the competition. It's available to open and available to everybody. So if there's any professors or anybody on the line right now, there's folks who have taken snippets of slides and stuff like that incorporated into their lecture slides. So it's a resource for you to use, open to all. So Adam, did you want to cover this?
Sure, happy to. So this is develop the solution in ConOps using the trainings that Andy identified. This is what we're looking to get from you as that first end product. This is a 10-page or so packet. We have an outline there on the screen. We want to make sure you know the problem. We want an overview of the description. We want to know overview of the solution, and we want to know the concept of operations for that solution, as well as work needed to develop and implement and anticipated impacts. We have lots of examples on the website. We'll show you in a moment where those go for standout ones of these in the past. And so hopefully those will work for you to identify that. Let me highlight one thing. The cost breakdown and timeline. This is where those advisors become really important and helpful, is they can sort of help you about realistic costs and timelines, because those are the type of things that, as Andy mentioned in the beginning, we want you to understand, how to implement real world solutions to challenges that are in the transportation industry, and understanding those cost breakdowns and timelines is a tough thing. And having an understanding of perhaps costs that you haven't thought of, or a realistic timeline is important there, and using your advisors and throughout this ConOps development becomes really important. for that. So again, this is the final product. This is the first step that you're working towards, and this gets judged by industry leaders, people within state DOTs, private sector, academia. They will scrutinize this as if it's a proposal for a project and judge accordingly. So it becomes important to use those advisors throughout this process. As I mentioned, all past ConOps presentations and recordings are accessible via the website. Last year's, the 2022 ones, were done in person, so we have just the presentations for those. We'll be posting those soon. They're not up on the website yet. We're gathering the documents from last year, but go through and look at the ones from previous years. 2018 and 2019 were all in-person events. You can see a team there from North Dakota, I believe, in our first year. That are there, and then we had 2 years that were virtual, 2020 and 2021, where you can see actual recordings of what those presentations look like, and as well as the ConOps. Again, remember, the presentations are quite different from the ConOps. We'll get into that in a second. And this is from the website here. Take a look at this list. We'll bold these after the webinar in the on our website to make sure that you can access them. But this is a list of some standout, highly rated concept of operations documents, and how they're available on the website. So they're worth taking a look at. Then again, the judges will come together and decide on who the winners are, or who the initial winners are who are going to compete in person at the ITE Annual Meeting. And those will be asked to develop a presentation from your solutions document. Again, we say from your solutions, not about. At this point, it's almost as if you've been asked to go to that DOT or agency that wants to implement your solution and give a 10-minute pitch in detail to a large group about how it will work. You're selling your solution, why it needs to be adopted, how it can easily be adopted. So that will happen at the ITE Annual Meeting. That's the final event, and a winner will be chosen from there. Again, a big key to this is going to be the ability to understand fully your solution. The judges at the in-person event will have lots of questions and expect you to answer them on the spot. And the winners are the ones who are able to anticipate and answer questions. You can see there below, we'll help you through the summer between when the finalists are chosen and the event in August. In addition to setting up, helping you arrange travel and covering travel for 3 members of the finalist team, we'll help you with some practice runs, some question and answer sessions, and give you some best practices on presenting. We try to give lots of feedback to the teams there. The final event, as I mentioned, you can see the bottom left, a team presenting. That was in Austin the second year. You can see the winners being awarded the trophy last year in New Orleans. The trophy's awarded at the plenary, the second plenary of ITE. There's about 1,000 people in the audience where the winning team is announced. And notices go out far and wide across the industry of who the winning team is and what their solution was and how it might be implemented. We also try to incorporate teams into future academic forums, peer exchanges, webinars, and those areas as well. So not only do you get to participate in a live event at ITE Annual Meeting and get to be declared potentially the winner, we also start to incorporate all the teams as much as possible into resource development and networking opportunities going forward. Andy, you want to just talk about the key resources just a little bit before we close out?
Absolutely. Thank you. So there are a number of other websites, content material that we maintain. There are resources, things that you might be able to find useful as you continue along. Some of them are embedded in the competition webpage as kind of recommendations. Others are available on. If you have any questions, you want any sort of resource on anything, like I need something on systems architecture, something along those lines, we can actually give you a link to the latest and greatest. So don't be afraid to reach out. Most of the content that you're going to need, it can be found on the ITS JPO website or on the NOCOE website. The ITS JPO website houses a number of different always ask. But the JPO website features a number of different resources that you definitely will be able to find useful, things that'll kind of go deeper and deeper, but talk about ITS concepts, processes, and how to pitch solutions in a very standardized approach. Everything lines up on there. So if feel free to just explore around there, especially anything but the PCB website there. You'll be able to find a lot of good content. The NOCOE website is another treasure trove of amazing content. There are examples of good ConOp documents, and there's examples of wonderful webinars and other things that talk about how people are applying technologies to achieve TSMO goals. So absolutely go through there, look for inspiration, and if you're looking for something to kind of kick you off and give you a kick you into a direction that maybe an approach for your content. And again, if you're looking for anything, you're like, I need a training on blank, reach out to us. We'll set you up with something and point you in the right direction. I don't know if we want to go to the open Q&A.
We had a question come up in the chat box about if you're waiting on a last member, you're looking for another member, working with another college but not confirmed, go ahead and sign up as soon as possible. Let us know what you're waiting on. We just want to know that you're participating. And if a member comes in the next couple weeks, that's fine. We want to know that you're involved now. So and start collecting some of that information and materials before you get started. Like I said, March 10th is our date that we'd like teams to start. And I'll be reaching out to the initial submitters on that day. But if you also are waiting to confirm that you can do it until the next week, that's fine too. Just don't let the deadlines get in the way of joining. Again, like we said, always ask. We're happy to try and accommodate and make it work. If anybody else has questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat box, or you can request to talk. I'm happy. We're happy to allow that, whatever's best. Or I put my information in the chat box. You can always text or email, or the tournament website is there as well.
Andy, can you go back one slide? Or Adam, can you go back one slide? Andy was mentioning that you can find the information on the ITS Joint Program Office website. Well, the PCB program, the ITS Professional Capacity Building Program, as I said in the chat, is kind of the education and training arm of the ITS Joint Program Office. So you can you can Google ITS PCB and it comes up on our ITS PCB website. But you can also, there is a lot of quality products and documents on the ITS Joint Program Office parent website as well. And we've mentioned NOCOE, but NOCOE, Adam, I think you guys have quite a bit of lessons learned and who's implementing different items, and so that's a good way to see some real world examples of some deployments.
Yeah, the NOCO website is probably going to be a bit more of the real world examples, what's out there from state DOTs, but the ITS JPO Professional Capacity Building Program is going to be fantastic trainings, fantastic webinars on how-tos, academic case studies and workshops, and those types of things. But again, always feel free to reach out at, Andy, David, and I. We are resource providers for a living. This is what we do. So if your challenge problem is on the use of bike or pedestrian safety, and you're not finding the resources that you want right away, feel free to email us. We can not only can we try to find them ourselves, we have a team of people as well who can look for what's out there. Perhaps it's connecting you with an industry, somebody in industry who's working on such things for DOTs. Perhaps it's connecting you with a DOT that's already implemented it. Perhaps it's a previous technology tournament team that worked on a similar problem. We can help make that happen for you. That's
I just remembered the other resource, data. If you need data, let us know.
Yeah.
There are a number of good resources available, publicly available data, data sites and data sharing portals that you may not be aware of. And if you are able to describe what kind of data you need to, you have a solution, you want to demonstrate it, you need a real world data set, something to kind of, proof of concept, let us know. We can kind of point you in the right direction and help you get set up with those databases. Data is a newer thing that people have been integrating into their pitches at the end of the season. Being able to show a working solution actually working is pretty cool. And again, it's going to need a little bit of data. So let us know if you need anything.
Looks like there's no other questions coming up.
One other thing, Adam, I was going to ask our judges in the past. We've had some pretty high profile judges, leadership at state, federal DOTs, leadership at professional societies, in private sector. The folks who you guys are going to be pitching to they're, you have an awesome audience for your pitches. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And in the past, everybody's the judging panel has always been impressed by the students' performances and how amazing the solutions are.
Yeah, it's worth that. Not only do you get to participate at the final event at ITE, but you'll get to meet the judges and some of these folks and talk specifically with them about what you're working on, where you can go future. And these are people who have been working in the industry and become leaders in the industry, who you'll get to meet and network with and talk with. It's a fantastic opportunity in that regard, just even outside of the competition itself. All right. Well, we hope to hear from everybody. Again, reach out via the form on the website to sign up, or reach out to me directly if you have any questions. Try to get that submission form in by March 10th, but don't let the deadline stop you. Submit anyway, or reach out and let me know that you're planning to next week, and that's fine as well. We hope that all of you join us in the tournament. Have a great day.